Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. It's time to wake the fuck up, people. On today's show, I'll be speaking with Stacey Casey, multifaceted healer and massage therapist. Welcome, Stacey. I'm so happy you're joining me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me on the show today. I'm super excited, super pumped to be here.
Well, I am stoked that you're here joining me, and let's just jump right in. So, multifaceted healer, that is a really intriguing title. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means?
So what that means to me is, I kept going back and forth on all the different types of healing that I've been working within. So I'm a Reiki master, and I do some polarity. I do a little bit of angel therapy healing. And then when it came down to it, energy is just energy. So I really felt like I was not just a Reiki master, because it was so much more than just one title. So for me, it really encompassed all of the different energy forms that I use. And I just channel energy. So I just felt like, as a multifaceted healer, I'm able to tap into all these different realms or frequencies and use these during my sessions. So it really sparked like a joy to me when I was like, yep, that's the word. That's what I'm going to use now.
It really does encompass it all, right? So you're doing all these different modalities, if you will. And so, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And it's a really good name, really, a really good title to use. I like it a lot. So now, how long have you actually been a massage therapist?
So I actually, I was a massage, it's been 19 years since I've been a massage therapist. So
Wow.
It's been a time, and I actually took Reiki, shambolic Reiki, before going to massage school. So I've been a healer for a little bit longer, for like about 21 years. So
wow.
Going into the field, that I wasn't just meant to be a Reiki healer. I needed to know more about the body, and then that led me to being a massage therapist. And also my mom was a massage therapist, so it kind of was like, all right, nobody wants to be like their parents, but in this form, it really worked out.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's unusual then, I think, to have started with the energy part of it before you went and became a massage therapist. I think that's really unusual. So, like, when did your gifts actually begin changing and evolving? Because you said that you work with, you mentioned polarity and angel healing and stuff like that. So when did all that start changing for you?
Well, I'm having this throughout my life. When I was little, I used to have an imaginary friend. And then, things went away. Then it came back when I was about 13, 14, and I saw an apparition in the back of our farmhouse, and she was a servant type. And then as the years went on, I would really have to say about 5 years is when things really started to change for me. I was working at a chiropractor's office, and I happened to see this angel in the corner, and I got that it was a guardian angel, a boy. And at this time, I was scared, like out of my mind, because, I was like, oh my gosh, do I tell my client? And I asked her, hey, would you like to receive a message? And at this point, I was shaking and crying because I'm like, what am I doing? I've never told anyone anything. And this angel happened to be like, I could feel his energy and I could hear him speak to me. I couldn't necessarily see him as a person, but I could see the outline of the wings, and I could feel that he was around the age of 12 to 14. And I said to my client, I said, hey, the message coming forward is tell my mom Merry Christmas. And she started crying. We both started crying. And she lost her son to leukemia, and she hasn't heard from him or wasn't able to have an experience like that for many, many years. And at the time, her oldest daughter was 25 and was getting married. So they, to have that at Christmas time, to be able to tell her that and have that connection come through was huge. And
yeah.
Everything started really opening up for me. I just knew at that point I couldn't keep my mouth shut any longer. Like, I needed to, when I had people in session, like, I needed to tell them things. I needed to tell them, hey, your uncle from blah, blah, blah is coming through, or I see purple around your aura. And as I'm reading, it's a little bit different for me because when I read someone, I read their astral energy. And for me, personally, the left side comes through as work. Oh, I'm sorry. The left side comes through as emotion and family, and the right side comes through as work and stress. So that's how I can kind of decipher what's going on, where I need to pull from, what's coming through, and then after the end of their sessions, they get all their downloads.
Wow. So you actually, you see things, you feel things, you hear things. I mean, it comes through to you in a multitude of ways, yeah?
Yeah, so it comes through in a multitude of ways. I've been able to smell different things, lilacs, and then asking the client, hey, what does lilacs mean to you? Because I could smell it through the left arm coming through, and again, she told me that it had to do with her sister growing up and how things were when she was younger. So it was the family, and then that also happened to be her favorite flower. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way, this is so cool. So even it's been wow, this is so cool. But yeah, from seeing things to tasting, sometimes I get the taste. Sometimes just feeling the energy come through has been incredible.
It sounds really fantastic. I mean, and I think for some people, the way that it happened for you, to have seen that, that girl in the barn like that, that probably, I mean, that would have scared the shit out of me. And I think for some people who they have that type of experience, they kind of shut down, They
Right.
they don't keep going and allow it to expand and come through more. They would have a tendency to push it away, but you didn't. And I think that's fantastic because this is clearly the path you're supposed to be on.
Well, I've always been fascinated from really young that what was the spirit world? What was, how can we see different things? When Unsolved Mysteries came into play, that was my show. I was like, wow, this is so cool. And back then, they didn't really talk about a lot of things like this. And it wasn't really accepting back then. And now it's just, now it's all out and open, and you can try different things and talk about lots of different dynamics and realms, and I absolutely love it. I love what I do. It's my passion. It's my craft.
Yep. I can relate to that wholeheartedly because although mine is different than yours, it's still, it's still a process of delivering messages, whether they're just intuitive that I get or I'm actually, getting a message from a past loved one or something like that. It's so rewarding to be able to bring peace and closure and just this overall sense of love and connection and for so many people just confirmation of what they already intuitively know.
Or just even when they're like being sluggish and heavy and they come in for a session and they're like, then they start telling me, oh my gosh, I go see my therapist and I talk it out, but then sometimes I don't feel the relief and I don't feel the release of my body and how I'm able to work in that space where they get body work and then I get the downloads and they can actually feel that pressure coming off of them and they feel like, okay, finally, like I'm able to release and forgive and have that validation come through.
Yeah, and what a sense of not only relief, but release, you know, to be able to let that shit go because, man, it really can manifest some nasty stuff in your body if you're holding on to it, right?
Right, exactly. And, you know, when we're looking at why a shoulder has been acting up in a rotator and they've been to the chiropractor, they've been to physical therapy, and then come to find out it has something to do with when they were, you know, in their early 20s and something happened and all those emotions have been bottled up and kept inside, and now through the years it just keeps acting up, and it's the silver lining coming through of, you know, some of this stuff emotionally. It can be a real havoc on the system. And if you don't process all that through, then, you know, there's lots of things that can come, I mean, you know, diseases and just from like aches and pains and stuff. It's no longer serving you. It's time to release all that.
Absolutely. And the sad thing is that but this is the good part that, you know, the fact that there are people like you who can do this work and actually help people to release it because the bottom line is, you know, in my generation anyway, and in my parents' generation, you know, we weren't taught how to process emotions at all. It's like, you know, suck it up or, you know, big boys don't cry and bullshit like that. Yes, they do, or they should, you know. Absolutely. So we just were never processed. We weren't taught how to process the emotions. And so, you know, now there's all kinds of stuff like, you know, scream therapy and, you know, just beating the shit out of your pillow or, you know, whatever. But the fact that you can help to facilitate that for somebody through the body work that you do and the intuitive stuff that you do, it's a huge, huge help. Huge help.
Well, I absolutely love it, and just, you know, just actually seeing your clients come off the table and have that release. You know, most of the time they tell me, you have no idea how much sense of peace that you have given me, and they're able to, like, again, process the emotions coming through, and sometimes they're crying, and that's even a release too, and going back to that period in their life that traumatic things happened or just feeling scared or angry or whatever the emotion may be. You can carry the memories if you would like it, but sometimes it's not needed. And I always tell them, you know, let's make peace with it. It's time to release it, and it's not serving your body any longer.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, with the evolution of your gifts, how are things different for you now than when you first started your business? Because I'm assuming you said that you were doing energy work, but then it led you into the massage therapy. So when you first began the business, were you primarily doing just massage therapy? And if so, how has it changed?
When I graduated from massage school, I was just doing massage. I would do a little bit of energy work here or there incorporated in my massage because, I mean, energy is always flowing, right? at that point in my life, I was not really in tune, and I was not getting the messages popping out to me. So at that time, I was more like your typical massage therapist. And through the years, it's changed drastically. Where you think that you go to school and you think you do this career, and you're like, oh, it's gonna look like X, Y, and Z, and it's not at all. And now, 3 years into my own business, even that has been a drastic change. Like I'm being able to pull to different things using crystals. When I started my business, I wasn't really doing crystal work. I just feel like being opened up, having that open center to channel in whatever I can. I thought it had to look and feel a certain way, and really it does not. I'm super blessed that I've been able to be on this adventure, and it definitely has just grown leaps and bounds. Like the other day, I can just tell you that I was using my pendulum to look at the chakras, and someone was on the table. I happened to be by the crown, and there was white light coming around the pendulum, and I was like, wait, what is that? Wow. And I was like, holy cow, what is that? And then as I went down, I could see that little white light, and I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. I can see this, just like little things jumping out, where now I just like, all right, what is this? Like I question it, and then I'm like, nope, all right, Spirit's coming in, and it's telling me that I have to do something or work a different way, and intuitively just knowing that has been, the underlying just knowing has been huge.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. I say all the time, you have to trust your gut. You've got to pay attention to what's going on like that, because otherwise you're going to miss the mark. You're going to miss the message, and then, an opportunity is going to pass you by that you could have really, really served that person and helped them in a really big way. So it's fantastic that you're so open to whatever shows up for you that you don't push any of it away. And then that way you can actually use it to help.
Which is amazing, because the other day I had someone in session, and I kept getting a picture of a lion. And then I wasn't really sure what that meant. And as the session progressed, I kept getting symbols of different things. And, I had to even look at the spiritual animal meaning on a couple of things, but just knowing that there was a deeper connection. And even for the person on the table, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool that it's manifests its way into certain different aspects of her life, and she wasn't even aware until I started pointing out a couple different things, and she said, oh my goodness, this whole time they've been sending me little nuggets here or there, and I've been missing it. So it's been really cool to help people kind of expand their thinking, expand their, even through their awakening process.
Right. Well, and it's, kudos to them also for being open to the possibility and not, poo-pooing the whole idea of, just energy work in general. Because, anybody can wrap their head around massage, right? You come in, somebody rubs on you, whatever, you're good to go, But incorporating the rest of that, for some people that would be like, yeah, okay. So it's fantastic that you are drawing to you the people who are really going to be open to that so that they can benefit the most.
Right, and that's who I really want, a clientele base that is open-minded. They really want to seek this experience out, and they really want to leave with a deeper understanding. And even for them, they come from all over and, wherever, and they just want They just want that deeper connection. And even they have things on the table happen to them, so I always ask them, did you see anything? Did you hear anything? What was the experience like for you?
Wow. Wow, that's fantastic. And I think it's so amazing that just their being open to it would then allow them to see it as well. And for you to, again, to be able to facilitate something like that for them, it's phenomenal. So you did mention that you use crystals. Now, do you use, and you said something also about the pendulum, do you use other things in conjunction with your work? Like, do you use oils or, what do you do?
For me, I use Young Living, and I drop whatever oils are calling for in that given time, moment, and day, even if we're dealing with chronic pain. Spirit always leads me to drop whatever is calling for that day, so I'll pick out a couple oils and drop on them. So I use Young Living. I also use crystals. I may not know all the names and the healing properties, but intuitively I just know that I'm supposed to use a smoky quartz to maybe place on their ankle for some reason. I may not know it until afterwards, but intuitively I'm just getting called for those little messages coming through. I use Tibetan healing bells, and I use singing bowls as well. I also have a couple wands, and I just love it because I can call on all these different tools to help guide me through the experience to help the client get the experience or the release that they're looking for.
Wow. And I don't think we can ever have too many tools in our toolkit,
Right. We're always trying to grow from our experience, and you never know. You take a class and you're like, okay, that one or two little things, I can always incorporate that.
Yep, absolutely. So now the majority of what you talked about, the people are there with you in person. So is your work primarily that way in person, or are you able to do any of this remotely?
So I am able to do things remotely now. I'm so excited because I've done two readings on, through the phone. So that has been really new, and that's been opening and expanding more and more. So I'm super excited for that because I can read energy and just using the cards as well. So I have some decks that I like to use, and obviously how that, spirit is drawn to a certain deck, and that's what the cards that you're supposed to call for them. But I channel probably 98% of what I get, and I just really let them guide me to move in that direction. So they're showing me that I can, really get outside the office per se and use my gifts in a higher purpose.
Right, absolutely. Now, do you feel that that's what is lying ahead for you in the future, expanding more on that?
Yes, I feel like I'm going to be expanding more on that, expanding more on mediumship. Mediumship just keeps coming up and allowing, those gifts to flow, which for me, I'm like, oh, am I ready for it? I even do a little bit of self-doubt, but I think I really am, and I'm super excited to see where the adventure takes me next.
Absolutely. Mediumship can be pretty freaky. It's only been, 7, 8 years for me. But I've had some experiences that were, less than pleasant. And, I'll give you an example. I was doing a private party. It was just 3 people though. I had never met any of them, but this one gal was sitting there and her dad came through. And so, we had conversation with him but there was this man standing off to the side, and he just kind of was patiently waiting for the dad to finish. And then when that was done, then he kind of stepped forward, and all of a sudden my head just started pounding. And I told her, I said, wow, my head is just killing me all of a sudden. And then I just felt like, you know, something happened to him with regards to his head. And so I said, you know, did this gentleman pass through some sort of trauma, you know, traumatic event or whatever, something to his head? And she couldn't even speak. She literally just nodded her head. Well, then he did that, you know, how you take your finger and you like make a gun with your finger, and he put it up to his head.
Oh,
and he, you know, like that. And I said, oh my God, I said, did he actually do that? And she said, yes. Well, then when the thing was done, I told him, I said, you know, I'm more than happy to deliver the message for you. I said, but you really didn't have to do that to make me feel that way. Cause I mean, this thing lasted 2 days, this headache. But he said to me, he said, yes, I did. And he said, because she would not have believed you otherwise.
Oh,
so,
my God.
Yeah. I mean, so there have been some really trippy experiences with it, but it's so rewarding that I forgive that part of it, and I'm okay with, you know, dealing with a headache for, you know, a couple of days or whatever. If it delivers the message and gives her what she needed, then I love what I do too. So, and I feel definitely you're ready for it to expand. And, you know, I'm sure our listeners would love to connect with you. I'm going to give them all your information. I'm going to post it with the podcast, and I'll put all your contact information, your phone number, Facebook, your website and all of that stuff. And so, yeah, so I'm so grateful that you joined me today. Is there anything else that you'd like to, you know, maybe last words you'd like to fill in about this, about what, you know, what's coming for you? Or
I'm just so excited. Thank you for having me on the show. I do have online booking now. I'm super excited about that. Please visit my website for Reflection Massage Therapy, all one word, .com. You can look me up and see what I have going on. And we're going to be doing some things coming up as well. So we're going to have some events, me and Lori, at my office. And we're going to be doing some intuitive readings like Lori does. And then I'll be doing chair massages or some intuitive table work as well. So I'm excited for, you know, the stuff that we get to do together, our little collaborations.
Absolutely. I love our collaborations. They're always awesome. And I'm definitely going to, you know, be putting that out there for anybody that is local so that they can join us if they're inclined. And, you know, this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me, Stacey. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you as always. And I would love connecting with you again on the show in the future. 'Cause, you know, I'd love to hear about what you'll be up to then. So, I would love to have you back.
For listening to this show and, you know, hearing from other people that you get to have, and I'm excited that I get to be a part of this. Like,
well,
will wake the fuck up because it's gonna happen. Do it or not. Everybody in the world is having this experience right now, and we just need to help those around that are finally awakening to this whole movement or this whole energy that is shifting the paradigm.
Yep. I totally agree with you. And I'm really grateful that you were open, and especially because we've already done this before. Stacey and I, we recorded the show once before and then found out that it didn't actually record. So this is our second go with it. And so we hope you enjoyed it.
I think this time around we have like more things to talk about. So I even like that, you know, that we had a practice time and now this one.
I know. I think it was fantastic. So again, thank you so much for being here. And thanks to everyone who tuned in today. As always, I'm grateful for your presence, and I will see you back here next Sunday with another episode as we continue to wake the fuck up.